All right, y'all. I know a lot of things going on. You got a lot of different types of movements and everything, but I want to talk about one person, Paul. He's the one person that was called last. Thought of himself as the least for a specific reason. See, he was brought up in all the traditional ways of Judaism. He was brought up as a Roman citizen, as a 100% Jew, and he was real zealous for God. He loved God. He was all for the Old Testament, the rules like, hey, if they're not doing right, stone them, this kind of stuff. He was supporting Stephen's stoning to death. We find out that after that in Acts 8 that he even went into the houses dragging out the men and women that was believing that Jesus was the Son of God in chains and taking them to stand trial. The Christians started they were considered the way at that time. They started going to other areas. They had not stopped believing in God. They had not stopped trusting in Him, even in the darkest of times. If they did, then what would their faith really be for? This life, what they can get out of it, or what they're standing for, which is the next life. So then Paul goes to the high priest and says in chapter 9, still breathing threats and murder against the disciples of the Lord, went to the high priest and asked him for letters from him so that he can go to the synagogues in other towns and drag them back to stand trial. He didn't even want them to go away and practice their religion somewhere else. He wanted to take their free choice away. Now, should we think that all Judaism was in this mindset? Jesus was brought up as a Jew. He was brought up in the practicing all the laws that God gave. Keeping in mind, he was preaching against the ones that man twisted for their own purposes. But he was brought up going by and abiding by all the 600 laws in the Old Testament. Then you had all the apostles that was following him that was also brought up as Jews. None of them was like this. But in that time, Paul was also justified in that denominational faith. But like Jesus said, love your neighbor, love God with all your heart, and you'll abide by all of them. See, there was the one thing that Paul was missing was the love. He was forgetting to seek God with his heart instead of just his hands. This is just like people today. They think they're standing up for something right because of things that they were been told by man, instead of praying that God will open their eyes. On the way to Damascus here in the first part of chapter 9, I actually find out that he actually saw the truth, that God got a hold of him. God shined this light, and not just Paul, but all those that was around him going to arrest the ones of the way. They heard the voice. They saw the light. They couldn't see Jesus. This is after he was already crucified. How they witnessed him being crucified. And they heard his voice. And blinded Saul at that time. Then, instead of the one going out to arrest, he became the one that they were trying to arrest. The same ones that he went to, getting letters to go arrest the Christians, they were the ones coming after him, trying to raise up mobs to go after him. And he still wrote one shy of half of the New Testament scriptures that we have today. Just because someone has evil ways in this world, just because they're out there doing stuff that's so evil and hurtful, they still have a soul and they're still loved, and God still has a plan. So pray for them. Don't stop being a child of God. Don't stop believing in the word because it's true. There's no scientific reason, method, or way for this light to exist out of nowhere and this voice come out. Not in the physical sense that we see. But you have eyewitnesses to the fact that it happened. You see, there is a creator. There is one that came and died for you and for me. And he rose again. And he can change the hearts of the one that wants to do evil. So whenever you have the people out there that you see doing all this evil, whether it's the protesters or mobs or whatever, don't stop believing in the God that came to sacrifice himself for you, because he is coming back. But pray for those. Pray that God will get a hold of their heart. Pray that he will come to them and blind them with the truth. Because Jesus said he wishes that none would perish, but all would have everlasting life. And that includes them as well. None of us was deserving of this, and he loved us anyway. Just wanted to share that with you. Just because someone is raised a certain way doesn't mean that whole entire group is negative. Doesn't mean that they're all bad. Some of them is just a little zealous whenever they start hearing all the negativity and they start listening to man twist things around for their own goals. We see the politicians and the media is doing that all the time. But seek for the truth. Seek for the original meanings. Just like Jesus said, it has to come from the heart. And our actions will tell where the heart is. May God bless. As always, continue to pray for this nation, that God may bring healing to us. Because I know he can. And that's where he promised he would if we turn back to him. God bless.